Welcome back, everyone, to Vuln Vibes, the show where we break down the latest and greatest in the world of cybersecurity. Today, we're diving deep into a vulnerability that's been making waves.
Waves is right. This one's got the potential to be a real tsunami.
Yeah. We're talking about CVE-2025-24043. It's targeted at WinDbg, that trusty debugger I'm sure many of you rely on every day. On the surface, it might seem like a niche security issue.
Just a little debugger glitch, nothing to see here.
Right. But given how widespread WinDbg is, the implications could be huge.
Absolutely massive.
So our mission today is to really unpack this thing. We want to understand not just what happened, but why it's such a big deal and what it tells us about the overall direction cybersecurity is heading.
You got it. We're going deep.
So before we get into all the technical nitty-gritty, let's set the scene for our listeners. I know many of you are already familiar with WinDbg, but for anyone who might not be, can you give us a quick rundown of what it is and why it's so crucial for developers and security folks?
Sure, no problem. Think of WinDbg like a powerful microscope for your code. It allows developers and us security researchers to really peer into the inner workings of software. It helps us find those pesky bugs, analyze crashes, all that good stuff. But here's the thing. To do that, it needs deep access to the system's memory, processes incredibly sensitive information.
Okay, so it's kind of like leaving the keys to the kingdom right out in the open.
That's a great analogy.
This vulnerability, CVE-2025-24043, specifically exploits a flaw in how WinDbg's SOS extension.
Which is a tool for .NET debugging, by the way.
Right, thanks for clarifying. It exploits a flaw in how the SOS extension verifies cryptographic signatures.
Essentially, it's like a hacker forging a security pass to bypass all those safeguards.
And what's particularly concerning is the severity. A CVSS score is 7.5.
Right.
What does that actually mean in practical terms?
So a 7.5 on the CVSS scale means this vulnerability has the potential to cause some serious damage. An attacker could exploit this flaw to remotely execute malicious code on any system running WinDbg. Imagine a scenario where an attacker gains control of a developer's machine. They could inject malicious code directly into the software being developed.
Oh, wow, that's chilling.
Yeah.
Especially since, as far as we know, Microsoft hasn't identified any mitigating factors yet.
It's a bit like knowing you've got a leak but having no way to plug it.
Yeah.
At least for now.
Exactly. Does this lack of immediate mitigation surprise you at all?
I wouldn't say it's totally unexpected. This points to a larger trend we're seeing. Attacks are becoming more sophisticated, and they're increasingly targeting the software supply chain itself. Instead of going after the finished product, attackers are compromising the very tools and processes used to build it.
So it's a much stealthier approach.
Absolutely, and potentially way more devastating.
So it's not enough to just secure the end product anymore. We've got to secure the whole development pipeline. What steps can we take to mitigate the risks this vulnerability poses?
Well, for now, Microsoft is recommending that everyone patch WinDbg ASAP and update any references to the patched package versions. It's a reactive measure, for sure.
It's still necessary.
Absolutely crucial. In the long run, though, we really need to be shifting towards a proactive security mindset. This means beefing up authentication mechanisms, implementing tighter access controls around our development tools, and really fostering a culture of security awareness among all developers.
I think this whole situation is a wake-up call. CVE 2025-24043 is a stark reminder that security is not a one-time thing, it's an ongoing process.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can't afford to be complacent even with tools we think of as essential and trustworthy.
I totally agree. This vulnerability underscores the importance of constantly reassessing our security practices. We have to adopt a more proactive, holistic approach.
Because, let's face it, any tool we use to build our digital world can be compromised.
Yeah.
And the fallout from that, well, that could be massive.
There's no overstating that. It's
Yeah.
a big challenge, but one we absolutely have to tackle head on.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into CVE 2025-24043.
My pleasure.
Everyone listening, stay vigilant out there.
Stay safe.